Hey everyone, it's Jeremy Sutton with Vivian Physical Therapy, host of Servant PT Podcast. I help women 50 and over live a life full of health, family, and fun. So today we're talking about don't be a dementor. Don't be a soul sucker. We all know what I'm talking about, or I feel like we do. I know what I'm talking about. Don't be somebody that brings everybody else down. And I'm talking to myself as well. We all have tendencies to get kind of down or feel bad maybe, but it doesn't really help us and it doesn't really help anybody else. So let's kind of get into this a little bit and we'll make it positive and not negative. I've talked about this before. Every interaction we have with somebody is either negative or positive. In my mind, there's no middle ground. You either see Joe on the street corner that you've known forever and you enjoy talking to Joe, or you see Joe and you go, my gosh, I hope I never see Joe again. Like, he just sucked my soul out. Like, everything was wrong with him and this and that. So we're going to make people better or worse by how we interact with them. And so I know from my own life, there's interactions I've had with people that were like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't ever see Jeremy again. Like, that guy's just ridiculous. But I try not to be like that. And those days are few and far between now, thank God. But we want to be someone who lifts everybody up, or I do, and I hope you do too. And it's real easy. And I'm just going to give you a few little steps that are common sense, but maybe we just need to hear them today. Maybe I need to hear them. Maybe that's why I'm talking about this. The first thing is, when you see somebody is smile. It takes nothing to smile. I've always heard it takes fewer muscles to smile than it does to frown. And I guess if I ever really sat down and thought about that being a physical therapist, I could pull them all out and tell you which muscles are which, but it really doesn't matter. But it takes less to smile at people than to frown and to be mean. It always takes more energy out of me to be in a bad mood, to be grumpy, to be ugly to someone versus being nice. It's just easier to be nice to people. And so people like that more. People respect that and appreciate that. So smile is the first thing. The second thing is just speak to people when you see them. Being in the South, I think it's just kind of bred into most of us that we speak to people when we pass them on the street, or, at least nod or smile or, hey, how you doing, stuff like that, And I know it's not like that everywhere. And I lived in Florida and it wasn't like that for most of the time. But just speaking to somebody can just make their day better. I see people all the time when I'm out, shopping with my kids or just getting things done throughout the day, and I see people and they're like, hey, how you doing? And it just makes days a lot better, when people speak to you and acknowledge you. We want to acknowledge people that they're here, that they're not just a nobody. I don't want people to go around feeling like nobody cares about them, nobody ever sees them. You see all these old shows I used to watch when I was in high school, and there's always the guy who says to the girl, I didn't even know you knew I existed. I don't want people to feel like that. I want people to know that I know that they exist, and I want them to feel like I've acknowledged them and I appreciate them, and they have worth to me and to other people. So smile at people, speak to people, acknowledge them. People want to be loved. They want to live. They want to leave a legacy. So love them. Help them live. Help them leave that legacy. So we got to smile at people. We got to speak to people. We got to speak uplifting words to people. Somebody comes in and says, my whole family's sick and I don't feel good, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're probably going to get sick too. Yeah, everybody's got the stomach virus. Well, you're going to be throwing up tomorrow. No, don't say that. Look, hey, let's encourage them. Well, you don't have to get it. Well, it's going to be okay. Well, that only lasts a few days. Encourage people, lift them up. Don't be the bearer of bad news. Don't be the grim reaper that they see every day and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see Jeremy because every time I tell him what's going on with me, he's like, oh yeah, well, that kind of stinks and it's going to get worse. Don't do that. Be the person that lifts them up. We don't have to lie to people, but lift them up, build them up. Create friendships with other people. One of the reasons I get along with people so well now in my business, whereas I didn't years ago, is I don't argue with anybody. Now, if something's wrong, I'll point it out. I'm a professional at what I do. I tell people, no, we don't need to be doing this or whatever. But I don't argue. I don't make it an argument. one thing is, like, as Christians, we're never going to argue anybody into heaven. Like, you're not going to argue with somebody that doesn't believe in your religion or your politics or your sports team or whatever it is. You're not going to argue them into being a supporter of whatever it is that they don't support. But you might love them into it. You might honor them into it, just by being friendly and by loving on them. So, like, that's why Brenda and I get along with people so much. We don't argue. We don't try to make somebody something they're not. We don't try to make people, assimilate into the way we want to do things. There's ways to get things done without doing that kind of stuff. And so that's what we do. So smile at people, talk to them, cherish them, honor them, acknowledge them, help them live and love and leave that legacy. So that's all I want to talk about today. Just don't be a soul sucker. There's too many people sucking the souls out of other people. There's too many businesses. There's too many things going on that folks have to deal with and makes life not fun. Let's make life fun. Let's make life more pleasurable and more enjoyable, and more joyful for everyone. So, guys, that's it for today. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will talk to y'all next week.